Films are really expensive to make. I mean, it's not everyone who can throw $125 million at a movie. Now, that's the estimated budget of the latest Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles film. And it's certainly a good return for them. I mean, that brought in $191 million at the box office. I mean, that's nothing to be sniffed at. I mean, at least the fans of the film are going to see it, right? But where's the originality in current film? If you look at this past year, much of the hype has been surrounding movies based on books, movies based on comic books, movies based on other movies, movies that are sequels of movies that have been based on other movies. I mean, that's not inherently a problem, but I remember a time when we saw movies that were created from scratch to be movies, that were written as movies, that were produced and directed and created. And I think that adds something to the overall medium. The real issue is that Hollywood isn't developing any of its own intellectual property. It's relying on other people's intellectual property that could dry up any time. I mean, look at what's happened with Marvel. They're taking control of their characters again, and they're able to produce films that are better and that are more targeted on the fan base and than any studio has done before. I mean, look at what's happening with Spider-Man, for example. Apparently they're having this big meeting next year where a lot of people who are involved in Spider-Man are getting together to talk Spider-Man because it's not making Sony Entertainment enough money. Well, Marvel can do it. Marvel have done it with every single film that they've brought out so far. I mean, with the exception possibly of the Hulk, every film that they've released has been a palpable hit. They're one of the two companies that can actually bring people into an auditorium, which is great news for Marvel. But for the other companies, you know, where's the next RoboCop? Where's the next Lethal Weapon coming from? Do we really have to sit through the Expendables 5, 6, 7, Jack Reacher number 2, Mission Impossible 5, The Quest for Peace, or whatever it's called? For creative businesses to thrive, they need to invest in new and expanding intellectual property, and this can only happen if you engage new writers and if you invest in projects that are maybe a little bit uncomfortable for investors to consider. With the amount of costs involved in film now, that's a really difficult thing to do. But remember what's come from experiments like this before. I mean, look at Toy Story. Hell, look at Pixar. They're the other of the two studios that can really make, you know, that can pull people into an auditorium. Everything that they do gets a great audience. And what do Marvel and Pixar get right? On the one hand, Marvel is delivering content that has been tried and tested in the market for decades now. On the other, Pixar's benefit is unabashed films that don't pander to a particular demographic, but are still engaging to the point that adults want to see them. Adults without kids want to see them. These are major achievements that wouldn't have been accomplished without gambling on original content, and I urge film producers to do the same the world over. This feels like the perfect time to shake up an industry that seems to be too reliant on other people's creativity in order to create their product. That's my opinion, anyway. Let me know yours by leaving a comment below, or you can contact me on Twitter at Steve_Meller or at Burnt Papyrus. Either way, my name's Steve. This has been my opinion. I'll see you next week for some special Christmas opinions. I'm not sure how that's going to go. Bye.